Hello everyone, it is Paul from Lone Wolf Media here, and today I will be doing another Game of Thrones predictions video. My last Game of Thrones predictions video was pretty successful. I'll leave a link to that in the description below. So I'm going to be doing another one. Now these videos are going to be more specific, more narrowed down on specific topics. And as always, there are spoilers, so now's the time to stop the video. Alright, you have been warned. Today I will be talking about Stannis and Gendry because we don't quite know for sure what happened to both of them. The last time we saw Stannis, he had just marched on Winterfell, his army defeated at the hands of Ramsay Bolton. After the battle, Stannis was beheaded by Brienne of Tarth. Or was he? Normally in Game of Thrones, when a character, especially a main character, dies, his or her death is shown in full glory. We didn't see Stannis' head rolling on the ground, we just saw Brienne raise her sword and begin her strike. This was the last shot from that scene. We never see any proof of Stannis' death. We only take Brienne's word for it. If Brienne left Stannis for dead, because he did have a pretty bad leg wound, he could have lived, just like when Arya left the Hound for dead in the Vale. However, there's more evidence within the show to prove that Stannis is alive. What I am talking about is a Baratheon death stag theory, which has been circulating around for some time. Basically, whenever a Baratheon dies, there is a stag that also dies earlier in the series. However, there is some ambiguity to the theory, which I am going to lay to rest. Our very first Baratheon death stag is in the first episode, when Ned Stark finds the direwolves. First, a dead stag is found, with one of its antlers missing. The other antler is lodged into a dead direwolf. Some would say that this is foreshadowing Stannis' ultimate death near Winterfell. However, I think that this is foreshadowing Ned Stark's death as a consequence of Robert Baratheon's death. The second death stag is later in the first season, when Tywin Lannister is skinning a dead stag. Later that episode, Robert Baratheon dies. The third death stag, if you can call it a stag, is at Renly Baratheon's camp. You can see the stag right between Renly and Brienne. However, it's not a stag, it's a doe. The reason why it's a doe is because Renly is gay. It's pointing directly at his homosexuality and the fact that he is effeminate. A little while later, Renly is assassinated. The fourth death stag involves Shireen. She is playing with the wooden stag that Davos gave her, and in the background right behind the stag is a fire burning. This is a very blunt way of foreshadowing Shireen's death, since she was burned. There is no dead stag, or a stag at all, in the episode that Stannis supposedly dies in. Brienne could have left him there to die a slow death, and Stannis could have lived. He would have limped off and found somewhere to stay. While it may be dangerous, there would have been many who would have been happy to help him, since Ned Stark supported his claim to the throne. He might still be in the north holed up at some farm. However, he could have gone back to Dragonstone or the Stormlands, although word of his arrival would spread fast, and he would have had to go through Lannister-controlled territory. Not a good idea. So, if Stannis is alive, what will that mean for Westeros? My guess is that Stannis will give up his claim, as he has been defeated twice. He lost everything, his support, his family, and probably even his faith in the Lord of Light. However, he is still one of the best military minds in Westeros. I can see him walking into Winterfell as a supplicant, begging Jon Snow to let him help command the northern military. Jon does have much to learn about the art of war, as he showed when he charged at the Battle of the Bastards. Stannis would be the perfect teacher and advisor to shape Jon into the military mastermind he needs to be in the wars to come. Houses Stark and Baratheon will march together as they did in Robert's rebellion. If Stannis is alive, the Lords of the Stormlands will probably support him, and that will throw the Stormlands into chaos once again. If there's anyone they should follow in terms of blood if Stannis is dead, it would be Cersei. since she's Robert's wife and officially the mother of his children, who are all dead. But if Stannis is alive, that could spur the Stormlands into rebellion against the Lannisters. If Stannis lives, House Baratheon also lives. What of its future? Stannis' family is dead. He may or may not want to bother with marrying. As I said before, if Stannis is alive, he will have lost his faith in the Lord of Light, because burning Shireen didn't help his situation at Winterfell. In fact, it hurt it. Because he's going to regret burning Shireen so much, he's going to atone for what he did by making Gendry his heir. He also tried to burn Gendry in Season 3. But, even though Gendry's a bastard, he's still Stannis' nephew by blood. The only problem is we haven't seen Gendry since he was rowing off to King's Landing at the end of Season 3. George R.R. Martin had to keep him alive for a reason, and I'm thinking that reason is because he's the future of House Baratheon. If Gendry isn't in King's Landing, he might be with a Brotherhood without banners, which is difficult to find, but they may come out of the shadows and support Stannis if he's alive. Remember, Beric Dondarrion and Thoros of Myr are Baratheon bannermen. Gendry's original intention before being sold to Melisandre was to be a smith for the Brotherhood, so it's a very real possibility that he's with them. Plus, we'll be seeing more of the Brotherhood now that the Hound has joined them. So it'll be very interesting to see whether or not Stannis and Gendry return in Season 7. Personally, I think that there's a very strong possibility that it could happen, but you never know. As I said before, I will leave a link in the description below to my previous video, Game of Thrones Season 7 predictions. Before I end this video, I'd like to give a shout out to my man Connor. He's the one who got me into Game of Thrones, and he's also the one who I consult whenever I have a question about lore, or just in general, we trade ideas about predictions and stuff. So, yep, that's it. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Thank you all for watching.